Welcome to the Aging Answers podcast. My name is Rob Faubion with Age of Central Texas. We are a regional nonprofit organization that tackles the challenges of aging with expert solutions. And our expert today is Erica Feinman, who works with Age of Central Texas in our Memory Connections Early Memory Loss program. And today we're going to talk about support groups. Now, Erica, we always recommend that folks who have a diagnosis of a chronic disease and family members who are caregivers to be able to join a support group because they're very important in helping them in their journey. But many people don't know what a support group is. So let's start with, what is a support group?
Yeah, so support groups are unique supportive environments. It's usually a group of people that come together and share, whether that's a diagnosis or some kind of situation, and support each other, whether that's through information or emotional support.
So basically it's folks who have the same thing happening in their world. Everyone in the room is going to be going through the same type of journey. And so it's a place where you can safely talk about what's happening in your world. I know one of the big benefits is that because everyone in the room is going through the same thing, it's a safe environment to talk openly and freely about what you're experiencing, that you don't have to put on your mask. And that can be very important for folks, especially caregivers, because even though you'll be surrounded by your friends and your family who are going to be supportive, a lot of times they just don't understand the specifics of what you're going through.
Yeah, I think for caregivers specifically, people in the community don't know exactly what you're going through. No one can know exactly what you're going through, but I think the closest bet is someone who's doing the same thing that you're doing, facing the same battles every day that you're facing. So I hear a lot of caregivers talk about their friends and family trying to be supportive and saying to them, "You're a saint for what you do. I don't know how you do it." And although these are very well-intended statements, they can often be ostracizing and make the caregiver feel kind of alone. So that's where the support group comes in. It's a group of people that say, "I know what you're going through." Even if they don't have answers, they can say, "I know what you mean and you're not alone." And that's vital for this population.
And I think that is the most important point of a support group, is knowing that you are not alone, that you have other folks in your community who are dealing with the same thing, whether it's a diagnosis of cancer or it's being a caregiver who has children at home and their parents that they're taking care of simultaneously. Having folks who are in that same type of situation can be very supportive and helpful. Also, support groups are a great place not only to be able to talk freely and have that shoulder to lean on when you need it, but also to get information and resources.
Yeah, I have a lot of, especially in participant support groups, where people who have a diagnosis are attending a support group with others who have a diagnosis. There's a big exchange of information. People will come to the group and say, "Hey, I tried this new medication. Has anybody else tried it before?"
Right.
Or, "I'm seeing this new doctor. Has anybody heard of them before?" I think it's really helpful to have a group of people who you can share ideas with.
Right. And I would also think very helpful, especially for caregivers, that you know that there's someone else nearby who's going through the same situation. So if at 8 o'clock at night you really need to email or call somebody to get some advice, you know where to turn.
Yeah, you're building your network for both emotional support and resources.
Terrific. So support groups can be extremely helpful, both for the person with the diagnosis and for the person who is helping care for a loved one. If you need help finding a support group in your area, no matter where you are in your journey or what type of disease you are trying to work with, you can always contact the Area Agency on Aging. This is a national government-supported group, so there is one in every major city in the U.S. Simply Google Area Agency on Aging and your city, and the information that will come up will show you the one that's closest to you. They can be a tremendous resource for you in finding things that you need in your community. Thank you, Erica. Thank you for joining us for this podcast. If you have a question you'd like one of our experts to answer, our information is listed below. Send us an email and we'll have one of our experts talk about what is important for you. Until next time, thank you for joining us on Aging Answers.